Hey, it's your boy DJ Wolf. Hey, I did a podcast last night, a live one. The first time I did a full live podcast in a while. And wow, the response. I'm actually shocked at the response. I mean, it was, well, anyway, I appreciate you listening. But I just had to get some stuff off my mind, man. Right now, I don't know. I'm in a little bit of a funk today. I really am. For a couple of reasons. Some I want to talk about, and some I don't. One of the things is this traffic, and now the weather's getting warmer and it's spring officially. People are just driving like they're losing their minds. I mean, seriously, it's just like it's just like a bug in my ear every night, man. It's like, oh my God, it's just terrible. And sometimes I just like, oh man, why don't I just go ahead and just go? And I was asked my mother about a week and a half ago. I was like, what do you think? I should go ahead and do a semi-retirement? She's like, no, I can't do it right now because it's too early. I come out too early, which is true. But man, it's just like, the rat race is something else anymore, man. It's just crazy. It's crazy. But I don't know. I got to a point. I know somebody I know, a coworker of mine said that they don't watch the news too much because it's too depressing, which I had to agree. Not only is it the news too depressing anymore, I'm talking about regular news. I ain't talking about social media. I'm talking about the regular news is so depressing and so mean-spirited at times and so selective. There are times where I just don't even watch it at all. I really don't. Instead of me watching the news, I just turn on my DVR and watch a program. It's just, I just can't. It's our world, and you should know about your world. But sometimes it's just like, man, it's like, I want to be happy. I can't be happy 24/7. That'd be impossible. If I want to be happy a little bit more than I usually am, or put it like this, a little bit more than I'm usually not. Let's put it like that. In other words, how can I put it? I want to be less miserable and a little bit more happy. And and this is not about me trying to take drugs, because I'm not trying to go that route. I just want to be naturally happy, Like what they say, natural high, happy. It's just, I don't know. It's just, people say, well, you play victimhood. No, I'm not. In this case, I'm not. I'm really not. But there's so many things that me as an African American male had to deal with over his entire life. I could write a book on it, and I told somebody I just may do that for real. So much stuff, man. So much stuff and misery and heartache I had to deal with, man. But people say, but I think that's a white narrative when you say you're playing victimhood. No, it's not about victimhood. We've always been victim to something our entire life. Whether it be abuse, whether it be harassment, whether it be discrimination, whether it be how can I put it? People being culturally indifferent to you. Our whole history has been about being victimized. And not to say that we necessarily wear our sleeve, but that's the way it's always been. And no matter how much we fight back, people still try to throw you under the bus. No matter what you do, in all respects of the dominant society. I see it all the time. All the time. We had a conversation with somebody one time about Trayvon Martin. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. About 4 years ago. what's the first thing they tell me? Oh, Trayvon was just a thug. Other words, he's just a write-off because he smoked weed. That makes him a thug. Really? You got thousands upon thousands of white kids that smoke weed every day. Do they call them thugs? Hell no. They call them anything but that. You know? Our kids, they want to label them. You know? Culturally identify them as something other than just being kids. You know? I've noticed that. You know, anybody who's not Caucasian always being identified as something totally different from everybody else. In other words, you're not like them. You're not like us. You know, in your community, you're a thug for smoking weed. In our community, we're just kids being rambunctious and just being bad. I mean, just getting into stuff. You know? In our communities, if you're addicted to something like heroin or something like that, you're a junkie. In your community, it's just somebody with a bad addiction. You know, I mean that's how biased that we are. That white people are biased to. I mean, towards us, they always have been, still are. They just dance around it in code, just like Bill O'Reilly did with Maxine Waters. Yeah, I'm still talking about it. I'm still pissed about this shit. Because y'all want to play the narrative like, oh, he was just kidding. Fuck out of here. He was just wanting to make her look like a joke. We all know. And I definitely know that. He was trying to make her look like a joke. No question about that. You know, and I'm kind of like, it's getting really freaking old for me for people to sit there and constantly play that game, play code word with you about something that they know. Oh, God, this traffic is killing me. That they know that they're doing. It's cold. It's been cold. It's been cold for a long time. You know? For a very long time. And they continue to do so. But I won't stand for that. You know, I know people were dogging me out on YouTube last week. And not only YouTube, but Google, of course. Talking that stupid smack about, oh, it's a joke, you can't take a joke, and all that other stupid shit. It had nothing to do about it. It wasn't a joke. It was about Bill O'Reilly playing code on a prominent congresswoman, black congresswoman, okay? Because of her stance against the policies of Donald Trump, who Bill O'Reilly liked to suck up to. And I do mean suck up to. You know? He know what he's doing. But I couldn't believe a brother actually sat there and went along to get along, saying that, oh, it was just a joke. My ass. You know, that was cold. Cold to say, don't take this woman seriously. I know exactly what it was about. We all know what it was about. At least those who got any common sense and brain cells, you know, and not trying to necessarily go along and get along with everything that they hear the dominant society tell you, because that's another example. They're trying to tell you what's funny. They're trying to tell you that, oh, it was just a joke. They're trying to tell you that this is what it really was, not what you thought it is. No, this is what it really was, not what you try to make me think it was. You know? And they play code all the time on stuff. You know? I could write a book about it. I really could, but I'm not going to. I'm just frustrated. I'm a frustrated black man. See, here's the thing about us. And I know it's because I've been in situations where I've spoken out about certain things to women. And I don't mean I'm talking about like harassing them. I'm talking about just basically, like somebody I know, a friend of mine was in a situation with a couple of female co-workers in his office. And he wasn't romantically involved or sexually involved or anything like that. And he was trying to get them to do him a favor regarding himself because he had to leave early, and they made it look like he was actually arguing with him about asking about leave, and they actually had to pitch a bitch about it. But just because he spoke out about asking about it, all of a sudden he looks like he's wrong. And this is a game that not only dominant society play, but it's a game sisters play too. Especially when they want to get on the good side, to go along and get along, you know. But you as a brother ain't supposed to say nothing. You're supposed to just keep quiet like a church mouse instead of being a man and speak up for yourself and say what's on your mind. They don't want you doing that. They don't. If you do, you're being loud and boisterous and you're being combative. It just on some level really does irk me to no end. Just, it's a trip. It's a trip. It's a straight ass trip. And I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like I have to pray on it. Sometimes I just want to shout up to the rafters and say, why am I the one always being harassed and humiliated all the time for trying to be the man that I need to be out here in this world today? You don't want that. I was talking about like BET and TV One. I was reading something about BET fired this woman because she took off because she was recovering from breast cancer. She got fired. They didn't even state what or why she got fired. They just fired her. And so it was a couple of similar incidents that happened with a couple of other BET employees as well. This just recently happened. Don't surprise me because TV One, well, BET and TV One, BET and TV One aren't even owned by a black company. Black people don't even own them anymore. Black people really never really owned BET anyway because Robert Johnson he was an investor in BET. He actually didn't own it. He was a figurehead. He actually didn't run it. From my understanding. And from published reports, he actually didn't really run BET. They got a figurehead now. I forgot her name, Deborah something. And Deborah Lee, I believe. She runs BET, but she doesn't actually own BET. She's just a figurehead. I'm gonna be honest about it. But and like somebody was saying in the comments about it, BET has been run by white people for decades. Man, TV One is too. They're the ones to make the decision about what we see on TV, what we watch. Did you know BET used to have a nightly news program back in the 90s? And Tavis Smiley used to come on right behind it. Two of the best programs on BET was the late night stuff. Not anymore. Remember Monique had the talk show for about a minute? They got rid of that. It was like there's no creative programming that they have on those networks. Centric don't either. I was like, really? I was like, come on now. But I'm gonna focus. I ain't gonna talk about Centric because Centric do have some pretty decent programming. But the main two, BET and TV One, don't. Some of the programs are pretty good, but for the most part, there aren't any real innovative programming that's out there off those two networks. It's not. And one of the things I would have liked to saw, that they used to have, again, like I said, a black newscast. And I don't mean like, I'm talking about a newscast that's caters to African Americans. Do you know what's that, Univision? They have that for Hispanics. Hispanic nightly newscast on their network, on their own network by them. They run everything. They own everything on their network. And they have nightly newscasts every night. I've seen it. Okay? and they're Asian newscast. And I'm not being biased, but it's a fact. There's those guys have that stuff going on. We don't. There is not one BET or TV1 black newscast on at night. Matter of fact, there's no network that currently shows it, not stateside anyway. And not on a national level. Makes you wonder about that. Because there again, who controls the media? Not us. Who has any stake in the media? Again, not us. Last I checked, Johnson Publishing is no longer owned by black people. Johnson Publishing, the leading black publisher at one time in this country, no longer owned by black people. No longer run by Essence Magazine is not even run by black people anymore. Really? I kind of wonder why they got rid of Jet Magazine and they shrunk Ebony. There's a reason for that. We don't run the show. It's DJ Wolf. That's all I had to say. I had to get a couple things on my chest because I think, and I hear people talk about all the time, I think maybe it really is time that we start running our own business, owning our own businesses, and really stop talking the talk and walk the walk. I, like many others, are ready to do that. But maybe what I'm doing ain't enough. Maybe me owning my own DJ service and podcast station, well, not station, but actually I don't own a station per se, but I do own my own podcast equipment, so sort of, and video company, my startups, at least I do have that in place. But the thing of it is, I'm not enough to be able to do that, to generate any real wealth. That's the thing. Until we can do that, man, only thing we can do is just follow the leader. DJ Wolf out.